5 years ago, back in 2018, I became a fan of Baki. I've known about Baki for years. There was an advertisement inside of my Dragon Ball Z Wrath of the Dragon DVD. I kinda didn't care though. I wanted to see Super Saiyan 3 Goku turn into a dragon. A decade and a few years later, I'm looking at Baki a little differently. I saw my dad watching it when it first released on Netflix one night. Instantly sold. I watched every OVA and anime the franchise had to offer before finishing Baki 2018. There was no Baki left. I found myself craving more martial arts action. Watching anime like Tenjo Tenge, which was pretty good except that the anime doesn't cover the entire story, so I was forced to read the manga. The manga was trash, so I was stuck. That was until Netflix released a teaser trailer for a new anime that could scratch my itch for more martial arts action. The teaser trailer for Kengan Ashura dropped back in March 22nd, 2019. Immediately I noticed that the main character, Oma Tokita, shared parallels to Baki's character design. Not to mention that both Baki and Kengan have tournament arcs that takes place in gladiator-styled arenas. These two similarities alone left me eagerly awaiting for Kengan Ashura. 5 years later, you can clearly see that the series did not disappoint me. So let's talk about the brutal, cutting-edge masterpiece that is Kengan Ashura. Kengan Ashura is often compared to Baki the Grappler. Talk to anyone who's a fan of both and they can probably list more similarities than the two I provided before. The two share many similarities, from story and characters all the way down to them both being written by martial artists. Yabako Sandrovich started martial arts at a young age. He practiced Shaolin Kung Fu, karate, and grappling. That's a solid lineup right there. His occupations weren't just limited to martial arts. He was a salaryman, archaeologist, and later a fisherman. During his time as a fisherman, he would create and self-publish his very first web manga, Guro no Kabushi, also known as Fist of the Seeker. Fist of the Seeker follows Ikeuchi Mintaro, a practitioner of Nito-style school karate, has peaked as a karateka, reaching his maximum limitations in terms of skill. Unfortunately, his level of skill isn't enough to obtain victory at the Rakushin Kaiken tournament. After his defeat, Ikeuchi gives up on karate and instead seeks out new strength in the form of his very own fighting style. Sounds like a solid story, right? I was even intrigued by the plot and decided to actually read it. Then I decided not to read it. Respectfully, the art just ain't it. It just isn't. But the writing? Godlike. That godlike writing caused an editor from Shogakukan to reach out to Sandrovich. These circumstances are extremely similar to the One Punch Man artist One and how his webcomic One Punch Man was discovered. Unlike One Punch Man, Fist of the Seeker would not receive a remake manga featuring a better artist to illustrate its plot. It's a shame because the story actually deserves a remake manga. Unfortunately, this is it for Fist of the Seeker. Instead of remaking Fist of the Seeker, Sandrovich would write Kengan Ashura. Since Sandrovich was writing Kengan Ashura, the writing position for Kengan Ashura was confirmed. An illustrator would be needed to display the story with more digestible visuals. An artist by the pen name of Daromion would take the role of illustrator for Kengan Ashura. Daromion lived in America for 14 years. He's from New Jersey. He's worked on the Ketchup Ninja series and designed the game Oniya Chan-chan using the 2D Fighting Maker engine. This has to be the most bizarre, ugliest, one of the most visually disturbing fighting games I've ever laid my eyes upon. Might have to check it out. Clearly the guy's an artist. He even graduated from Art University. Safe to say, Kengan Ashura's visuals were in good hands. With all the pieces in place, the date finally arrived. On April 18th, 2012, Kengan Ashura was serialized on Shogakukan's Ura Sunday, a web manga distribution site. That means Kengan Ashura is a web manga. Let's talk about the story. Since the Edo period of Japan, gladiator arenas have existed in various forms in secret locations hidden from the public eye. Wealthy merchants hire gladiators to fight in unarmed matches against the fighters hired by rival merchants in order to settle business disputes. These are called Kengan matches. Today, Kengan matches are bigger game, but the same at heart. Large companies like McDonald's, Nintendo, fucking Disney, they all hire martial artists to fight. sometimes to the death, to settle business deals. Other than the prohibition of wielding weapons, there really are no rules in the Kengan matches. You can imagine how some of these fights end. Sometimes someone just fucking dies. It just happens. The main character, Oma Tokita, is introduced by beating the shit out of someone in an alleyway. Stay the fuck out of alleyways. I once saw a dead pigeon stuffed in a black plastic bag. This was in broad daylight, mind you. I had to ask myself, what the fuck happened for a scene like that to appear before me? It was definitely a human that did it, you know? Another pigeon's not gonna put another pigeon in a plastic bag, you know? Had to be a homeless man. Probably snatched that motherfucker from midair. Just fucking, I don't know, bit it? Who knows? Anyway, the guy that Oma beat was a Kengan fighter for a company called Nogi Group. So the CEO calls Oma in. Since Oma bodied their fighter, he has to become their replacement fighter. Oma's kinda hype about this. He gets to beat the fuck out of more people. All of this is leading up to a big tournament between these businesses. Oma's just here to beef with people. Unfortunately, people from his past come back to beef with him and also suck his beef. I said what I said and I meant when I said it. There's a certain character that's built up to be a threat towards the well-being of Oma and his Ashura, bro. No cap. Truth be told, Oma does like devastating his opponents, but he ain't gonna let his booty hole be devastated by this man, alright? That's just the way it is. Oma isn't just in this tournament to enjoy a good fight. He's got an old score to settle with this booty warrior that's after him, alright? Whoever comes out on top will be considered the strongest, alright? That's Kengan Ashura. It's just a man that's trying to fight, but some other dude's just trying to take his cheeks, so he's gonna have to beat the shit out of him too, alright? Yo, read Kengan Ashura, bro. It's fucking worth it.